When people do a budget, I think generally what's meant by that is they're really just looking at income and expenses. And I've talked to a lot of colleagues, people who do what I do, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it. And sometimes we'll compare notes, and they'll kind of ask me, how do you do a projection? And I'll ask them, how do they do it? And invariably, every time I show anybody the way that we do our projections at Nerd Enterprises, they're frankly blown away by what we do, because I think your typical budget leaves out some very important pieces of information. Again, just looking at income and expenses, I'm not looking at nearly the whole picture. I'm not looking at all the balance sheet accounts. I'm not looking at what's going to happen to my assets over time. Am I going to buy more assets? Am I going to need to buy equipment? That's not factored in if I'm only looking at the P&L. It also doesn't factor in my receivables turnover period. If I know that it takes 45 days on average to collect my receivables, that's not counted. That's not accounted for. It assumes I'm going to collect the same income month in and month out, or maybe I've got it set up where I'm looking at it based on the previous month income being collected in this month. But even that's not accurate for any business. There's a few things that a few very important things that are left out of the picture when you're talking in terms of just doing a budget. That's why I don't call it we do a budget. I call them a financial model, and I'll also call it a cash flow forecast, because I can almost guarantee you that most other consultants out there are not doing a forecasted statement of cash flows. If it's a bookkeeper you're working with, I can almost guarantee you that bookkeeper doesn't even know what the statement of cash flows is or how to put one together. It's not just looking at what came into the bank and what went out of the bank. The statement of cash flows actually encompasses the very important piece I just described. It looks at the balance sheet and it looks at changes in the balances from one month to the next, so we can factor in, if I increase assets, that means I bled out some cash. I had to have spent money in order to purchase those assets. And it's not represented by the expenses on the P&L because it went to assets on the balance sheet. So it's important to include the whole picture. And when we do our projections at Nerd Enterprises, we include the whole picture. You're going to get a forecasted P&L, you're going to get a forecasted balance sheet, and you're going to get a forecasted statement of cash flows. And what's going to happen over time, if you've never really looked at these in this kind of detail before, is you're going to start to rely very heavily on that statement of cash flows, the projected statement of cash flows, because ultimately, what do we all want to know as a business owner? We want to know that we're going to have money in the bank at the end of the period. So the statement of cash flows on a forecasted basis tells me, here's what I expect to have in the bank to the dollar at the end of the year, end of whatever period I'm projecting for. So give us a call at 866-945-8070. I'd be more than happy to give somebody an online demonstration of exactly what our forecasted financial model looks like. We also have a class that you can download in our learning center that actually teaches you how we create it. It doesn't go over all the pieces though, because there's not enough time in that webinar that we did to go over the whole thing, but it'll give you an idea. We model the budget and the forecasts after your chart of accounts, whether it's QuickBooks or any other program you're using. We structure it exactly after the chart of accounts in your accounting software. That way the two systems can speak to one another very easily, very clearly, and it makes it very easy to update and analyze the information in both places. So visit us on the web, www.nerdenterprises.com or nerdenterprisesinc.wordpress.com. And I'll be more than happy, like I said, to get online and give you a live demonstration of a sample of one of these and how it works. Have a wonderful day.